Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's go live on Instagram, live on YouTube. We should be everywhere now. Looks like it. Hey, good morning, everybody. And there we go. So, imagination. Yes, the system reset yesterday and had to make a new, because I have it set up for a year to continue to do the Zoom rooms. And for whatever reason, Murphy's Law, the thing reset. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. We are getting started. We are talking about chapter 6 in Think and Grow Rich, imagination. So I'm giving you kind of the places where I've underlined things, where I've started to dive into it after 40 years of reading it, probably at least the 50th time that I've read the book. So we're on this is a copy I got out of Amazon, came with Science Getting Rich. Yes, this is the new link going forward, so you can save that. The principles which follow will open a way for understanding of imagination. Assimilate that which you understand, and as you read this philosophy for the first time, then you will reread and study it. You will discover that something has happened to clarify it and to give you a broader sense, a broader understanding of the whole. Above all, do not stop nor hesitate in your study of the principles until you have read the book at least 3 times. 3 times reading the book. How many is there a book that you've read more than once? Is there a book that you've read more than 5 times? I can promise you, with the Wallace D. Waddles would say, it's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way. And people who read Think and Grow Rich and fail to find the secret, their secret, not my secret, not your secret, their own secret. Whoever reads the book and fails to find the secret and say, yeah, I like it, but it really didn't do that much for me. You failed to find your secret. Your secret is the thing that's going to move your passion, drive your faith, improve your courage, improve your auto-suggestion. You're going to want to get better. That's the thing. That's the neat thing about some good books, is that you want the better that exists inside of that book. Does that make sense? How to make practical use of imagination. Ideas are the beginning points of all fortunes. Ideas are products of the imagination. Let us examine a few well-known ideas which have yielded huge fortunes, with the hope that these illustrations will convey definite information concerning the method. So I have written down here. So part of this is me going through some of the notes that I've written in here in the margins. How many of you have had rich ideas and yet remain poor? What was lacking to turn that idea into riches? You want to know what was lacking? Imagination. That's it. Imagination, that was it. The thing that was looking to turn your rich ideas into success is something known as imagination. That's the thing to become aware of. If you have smart ideas, rich ideas, ideas filled with joy, filled with light, filled with life, and you are struggling, it's not because you don't have good ideas. It's because your imagination might need a little tweak. And the imagination, here's the challenge with imagination. Imagination can only be called such if you're doing something you haven't done. Hang on. There's a huge difference between imagination and remembering. Do you know what it's like to think about things that didn't work, things that made you sad, upset, frustrated, mad, happy? That's called memories. When you start to think about your dreams, your wants, your wishes, your goals, and they make you happy, and they are not here, they are in the process of transmuting into manifesting into the real reality, that's imagination. So it's not about, how many times have you heard people say the phrase, keep your feet on the ground. Get your head out of the clouds. I used to hear that all the time as a child. Not necessarily a good thing, right? To be told that, because we didn't know what it was. We didn't know, whoever was saying that to you didn't understand that that's how imagination gets fired up. Oh, don't be such a dreamer. You ever hear that happen before? All right. You can read the stories in there and let them come out and see what you've come up with then in imagination. The first one is the Enchanted Kettle. You can read that one. Here's a couple of things I have underlined. All through the world, depression, when factories, banks, and businesses' houses were folding up and quitting by the thousands, the owner of the Enchanted Kettle went marching on, giving continuous employment to an army of men and women all over the world and paying out extra portions of gold to those who long ago had faith in the idea. You know, when people say, I got your back, it's because they have faith in your idea. And that is going to change everything. When people around you, now here's the thing, people will not be able to see your dream. People will not be able to see your desire. They'll be able to experience it, but they can't see what you see. They can't feel what you feel. And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? How many times have we heard that? So then the question becomes this. Don't expect, what are you expecting people to understand your new passion, understand your new desire? Are you expecting that? Is that what you're expecting? Because it's probably not going to happen. Then there's the next story of what would I do if I had $1 million? Yeah, I'm just looking at my different notes underlined. Again, you can read these. Go read these. This isn't a book report. This isn't a book club where we read the page. I'm looking to give you the deeper dives. Every night he took that thought to bed with him. But he couldn't seem to make continuous progress. Every night he took that dream to him. Limitation is that which one sets up in one's own mind. For nearly 2 years, I've been thinking, but I had done nothing but think. That's the hard part. Because see, once you start acting on your thinking, you're going to have a whole new level of thinking. If you're thinking you're going to produce the perfect plan, the perfect road path from here to riches, I got some news for you. The universe has bigger and better in mind for you, and it's going to start to show it to you as soon as you start to act on your dreams. The main thing of importance was the decision to get the money within a specific time. This is inside the book, What Would I Do? The story, What Would I Do If I Had $1 Million? The main thing of importance was the decision, italicized, to get the money within a specific time. And I want to tell you that the moment I reached a definite decision to get the money within a specific time, a strange feeling of assurance came over me, such as I had never experienced. Something inside of me seemed to say, why didn't we reach that decision a long time ago? The money was waiting for you all the time. Things began to happen in a hurry. I called the newspaper and announced that I would preach a sermon the following morning entitled, What Would I Do If I Had $1 Million? Now, if you know this story, he goes and he does the sermon, and a gentleman in the church, in the pews, comes up to him after the sermon and gives him his $1 million. For 2 years, all he'd been doing is thinking. The next day, he acted on it. And then the following Sunday, he preached. Long before midnight, I had finished writing the sermon. This is the day before the sermon. I went to bed and slept with the feeling of confidence, for I could see myself already in the possession of the $1 million. That is definite major purpose. Now, they don't call that here in this book. They're just telling you stories where it actually happened. The next morning, I rose, went to the bathroom, read the sermon, then knelt on my knees and asked that my sermon might come to the attention of someone who would supply the needed money. It was too late so as he walked out, right, he didn't have his notes. That would make sense, right? That seems like that would be a fitting conversation for this. It was too late to go back for my notes, and what a blessing that I couldn't go back. Instead, my own subconscious mind yielded the material I needed. My name is Philip D. Armour, and he started the Armour Institute of Technology. God seems to throw himself on the side of the man who knows exactly what he wants if he is determined to get just that. They're in here story after story after story. If you are the one who believes, if you are one of those who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring you riches, perish the thought. It is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of the definite principles and not by chance or luck. There is a science to getting rich. This is the art. This book, Think and Grow Rich, is the art of getting rich. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles is really the science of it. Talks about the irrefutable laws. It's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way. There is no standard price on ideas. The creator of ideas makes his own price, and if he is smart, gets it. Men who created ideas and men who put ideas into operation and made men who created ideas and men who put ideas into operation and made himself and others fabulously rich. What is the new radio opportunity that would translate into today, right? So they talked about when Edison made the radio and all of the things that brought. What idea is sitting just below the surface in you? Maybe you've touched on it, maybe you've nudged the door on it, but there's an idea in you that's going to change everything. That's the thing that you want to really pay attention to. The favorable break came through Carnegie. This is Napoleon Hill talking. The favorable break came through Carnegie. But what about determination, definiteness of purpose, and desire to attain a goal in the persistent effort of 25 years? It was no ordinary desire that survived disappointment, discouragement, temporary defeat, criticism, and the constant reminding of waste of time. This is a waste of time. How many of you drop a W if somebody's ever told you this is a waste of time? It was a burning desire, an obsession. When the idea was first planted in my mind by Mr. Carnegie, it was coaxed, nursed, and enticed to remain alive. Gradually, the idea became a giant under its own power, and it coaxed, nursed, and drove me. Ideas are like that. First, you give them life and action and guidance to ideas, and then they take on a power of their own and sweep aside all opposition. Ideas are intangible forces, yet they have more power than physical brains that give birth to them. They have the power to live on after that brain that creates them has returned to dust. Isn't that cool? So tell me, this is my note. So tell me, what has your dream survived through? What trials has your dream been tested against? That wraps up chapter 6. We're going to go into chapter 7 tomorrow. Organized planning. That's going to be fun. Followers are not entitled to a leader's compensation. Ooh, snap. Followers are not entitled to a leader's compensation. That's what you'll see tomorrow, that conversation. All right, chapter 6, questions, comments, thoughts on imagination. What'd you learn? What'd you like? Let me move my little marker here. We're going to chapter 7 tomorrow. Going once. Oh, sorry, Instagram. You don't really have to ask me questions. All right, Instagram, I love you tons. I'll see you where? At the next event. Till then, bye for now. And now, share. Think and Grow Rich, imagination.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Silke.
Since no one else is speaking. Okay. Let's see. I heard you just say that you don't get rich from working hard. You get rich from asking for it.
Riches never come from the leveraged riches, is what it said. Hang on, I'll find it for you. Go ahead. So,
Well,
so
I wanted you to explain that more.
Okay.
Please.
So what he's saying is that if you work hard, if you shovel a ditch, your only reward is the dirt out of the ditch. So that's a limited idea. Ditch digging. Now, if Bob Proctor started a company cleaning, passed out in the middle of a street in Toronto because he was doing all the cleaning himself. Somebody said, "You're going to kill yourself." Till he learned how to teach others. And then all of a sudden he had offices in Toronto and Chicago and in England because you don't have to do all the work. A lot of times when people say they're going to get rich, they say, "I'm going to do all the work." It's never going to happen. Accumulation of riches never happen because of one person's efforts. They happen because of one person's ideas. So this is where we have to start thinking bigger. Everybody wants to get rich and everybody says they're going to do it. But most people, one, will never pay the price. I think it was J. Paul Getty said, "I would rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own." So this idea that thinking doesn't get you rich, it's only thinking that gets you rich. But the thinking you have to have is you have to have this bigger than you. The desire has to be bigger than you. The reward has to be bigger than you. Right? So that's what it's talking about. Doing your effort, working hard doesn't get you rich. Working hard gets you hard work. Let me see if I can find the note. Go ahead.
So so that leverage income, that makes certainly sense. We have that with network marketing, and I think that's a big draw because certainly when you have 100 people working an hour is much different than when one person works 100 hours.
Right.
So yeah, that's the concept right there.
Yep.
So I totally get that, and I like that a lot.
And
because it makes so much sense to me.
It does make sense. It makes sense to us. The challenge is when we talk about leverage, we're literally speaking a foreign language to the average person who thinks they understand our profession of ideas and motivation, and they don't. That's why when they get in, they sponsor their friend and they pay for their friend and they do all of this because they have to do the work. They haven't learned storytelling. Riches are created by storytelling. Riches are. You can become wealthy doing the work on a doctor is wealthy.
Yeah.
But they're not rich. They wind up the second they stop doing surgery, they stop doing doctoring, they stop doing veterinarian work, all of these paid professions, their money goes away.
Right, because they have no leverage income. And yes, you're right. People don't, most normal people have no idea because I will ask them, leveraged income, passive income people can understand to a certain degree because, to them that means investing, like say in stocks or crypto or whatever, and growing by itself. But residual income people also struggle with. What's residual income? Well, any kind of membership is residual income
Right.
because people pay it every month at the gym. I mean, they set up with residual income.
Well,
And
there most people understand it. The reason they have a hard time understanding residual income is because they have residual outgo and they can't comprehend it.
well, they have residual outgo because they don't have a business. They just
Right.
sign up for subscription.
Sure.
Subscription, same thing. Netflix, whatever. People, any kind of those streaming things, anything, even Zoom. I mean, is all. I mean, membership is probably one of the easiest residual incomes because people sign up, they use it. They're supposed to use it,
But
but
there's a big difference. So Zig Ziglar said there's a big difference between having enough information to buy something or having enough information to sell something. And the challenge that we have in our profession, in the profession of network marketing, is that everybody has enough information to buy something. They have very little awareness and skill sets to sell something. So to sell somebody into a business model that creates memberships, most people don't have the skills or the talent to do that. That's why people say it's one of those things, because they never got onto the residual side of it. We've never taught people how to go build residual, what it really takes to build residual. Everybody wants it, but their mind is set on residual outgo, residual expense, not residual income.
so how would you teach that? I mean, to me, it's always made sense. I, for years, trying to figure out how to membership my German,
So what
my
you ask
German
people,
academy.
so what you ask people is, hey, listen, what is your residual monthly expense? Meaning those things that just they come out of your bank account, they're already charged to your credit card. What kind of businesses, what kind of subscriptions do you currently have that are automatic? And they'll tell you kind of Netflix, whatever it is, Amazon, and
Jim.
what happens, Zoom, they don't realize that they all already have all of these things. My question is would be to them is, who would you like to pay for those? Would it be okay if somebody else paid for those?
Of course, they would say yes. I mean, who
Awesome.
wouldn't?
My company can set up an agreement with you that if you do some work, they'll send you a check. You can choose how to pay it, but it would at least cover your expenses. Would it be okay if my company paid for your expenses?
Wow.
And would it be okay if they did it on a regular basis? So if you could do the work necessary on your side for them to have an agreement with you to pay them on a monthly basis to cover your expenses each and every month from now until forever, would that be okay? As long as you have the expenses. And if you don't
Well,
have the expenses, you just put the rest in your pocket. See,
that
that's
would,
called novelty. That's changing the way you tell the story.
yeah, and it would be the same thing with a car. People make car payments,
Sure.
and
So who
with
would you
this
like to pay?
business, who would you like to pay your car? You just
Yeah.
gave me an idea.
Yep. So when people ask me, so what's this company you're working with? Well, I partnered with a company that said if I do a little bit of work, they'll pay for my expenses. Not a,
Wow.
it's not a nutritional company, although they sell nutritionals, maybe, or they sell travel, or they sell services. This is why we have to understand our prospect. What is their pain? And if we understand their pain, we can provide a solution. We're trying to get rid of people's headaches and their shoulder hurts. I don't need headache material, right?
That's funny. I'm
And
sorry.
that's
I was
exactly what we're doing. Some people they got acid reflux and we're trying to get rid of their sore ankle. It's like, why are you messing with my ankle? I don't have a problem there. So that's
so
a
it's all how you tell the story and how you ask people. I mean, asking questions, I think, is the most important thing.
absolutely. I usually ask people, so what's a hobby you'd love to do, but it's right now out of your budget? That's futuring. That's not talking about the bills that make them upset and they got more month than money. We've heard all of the phrases. I ask, hey, is there a hobby that you would like to either do more of or get started in, but you'd probably get yelled at because it's kind of a little bit of expensive. I've had people join my business because they wanted to learn skeet shooting.
Skeet
Because
shooting.
it's
Okay.
where they pull and it's the clay pigeons.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
haven't heard that in a while.
an over and under gun or side by side, usually an over under gun for skeet shooting. If you get a Browning 12 gauge, that's $2,500 for an average, a decent one. You can spend up to, I've had friends, I've seen them $70,000 for a skeet gun.
Oh, wow.
So I usually ask, what's the thing you want? Because nobody wants bills. Nobody wants to pay stuff. Nobody wants to get healthy.
Yeah, and then you have people that say, "Oh, I don't travel." Well, you can still earn. You don't have to travel. I
Right.
mean,
Well,
it's a business.
that's why you have to give them a reason not to become a consumer of the product, because that's the benefit of the program. The benefit of the program is the money they get from being a part of the business model. So the only reason that somebody will do something, whether it's get well, get sick, get healthy, get skinny, get rich, is because it's going to serve somebody else. As much as we think social media has made everybody myopic, that they only see their own world, it's true. The challenge is that everybody wants to be seen for suffering. Everybody wants to be seen for getting rich. Everybody wants to be seen for getting healthy. And if they change their identity, then all of a sudden, nobody wants to see him anymore because they haven't prepared him for the new identity.
So, do you think that's why people just keep sitting?
Oh, it's not why, it's the absolute reason.
And
It's identity. It's their self-talk. That's
and I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible to me the excuses people come up with.
well, it's incredible, but it's not, because everybody has these amazing excuses. And when some people use some of these great excuses, I say that is a phenomenal excuse. How's that working for you?
You actually called them out on it?
Well, I ask them, hey, so if that's the reason what's keeping you stuck, how long do you want to own that reason? Do you think that reason is serving you, or that reason might be holding you back? I have no definition on that. Do you think it might be holding you back? If that reason went away, if that excuse went away, would your life improve or get worse? It would improve. So would you like to change that?
Yes, I mean, it's phenomenal the way you think and the way you reframe and the way you talk. Um, I'm
Well, that's the
still
key there.
struggling. I'm still struggling with that. I want.
Well,
I mean, I literally sometimes sit there and say, "Well, what would Sean say?" Or I message you, "What would Sean say?" How crazy is that? Because I mean, I totally see the shift and the difference of when you speak and how you can get people to move versus when I speak and I don't get people to move. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
well, a couple of things. One, signal, right? It's working on you, working on your auto suggestion.
Well,
That
and I love that you say that, but like yesterday, you were telling me the man's signal was totally off. And you're right, because I didn't look at it as the signal. So after you said that, I looked at it and I said, yeah, yeah. I mean,
So here's the great news. What's the great news? The great news is you recognized it once you were shown, right? Change the way you look at things. And you're like,
yes.
oh, now I see it. So now, if you, next time you read it, you can say, so what if I look at it this way? What if I literally move this over here and look at it from a distance? What's different about this that I might not be picking up? What's the signal that I can really tune into? And that's how you practice. This didn't come to me all of a sudden. I wasn't hit on the head by a horse and all of a sudden I had a skill. This is something I developed over 40 years.
Mm.
So it's just, and it takes time. And this is where you'll learn the phrase, tell me more about that. And you just let them run. And what you'll do is this is for everybody. When somebody gives you a response, you can chew on it, assimilate it, see if you can get what's the meaning behind it, what's the message they're not saying, and then you simply ask, tell me more about that, and you see if your thought matches what the next phrase they go into. Because I can promise you, if anybody is saying anything up front, there's 17 stories behind. And the key is how do you read those chapters of the stories that are behind? And this is why you play it deeper. Tell me more about that. Go, if you can go 7 levels deep on a conversation with somebody, and they keep doing like a skip in a record, repeating lesson 2, section 2, section 2. They keep saying the same thing over and over and over.
Yes.
They
Well,
have it. They're afraid to break through to the next level.
so how do you get, because the person then followed up with a 10-minute, more than 10-minute voicemail explaining the same thing over again that he'd already written in more detail.
Yeah, I didn't listen to those.
I know, because I never finished listening to it. I really didn't. And I didn't respond because I was like, it's like a waste of time.
So what
But
when it gets to that level, you say, so how can I help now? If I could wave the magic wand, what would you how could I be of best value to you now?
oh, that's a good idea. I will send that message, because I was not gonna listen to that entire thing because I already knew that. And then when I questioned the timeline from the other thing, yeah, then he thought he had to explain himself even more.
Yep.
But what's the point?
Well, the point is so that he can feel good being where he's at. He's got a great story. You know how when I ask you guys, tell me your DMP, and you really don't have one? When you ask him, tell me his DMP, he's got a whole story of why he's stuck where he's stuck.
Yeah, and
And so that's his definite major purpose. Now, we would all agree that it's not where he wants to be. Yet if it's the story you tell and you can tell it with such detail, you're pretty much locked in there until you make a huge shift in your mind.
yeah, and I don't think he's willing to do that.
Well, he may be. The key is that if somebody knows their pain so well, the law of opposites says they could know their joy so well. Yet if they keep using the same excuse over and over and over and over, it's become a part of who they are. It's why they get stuck. It's why they go this way and then they drop, and then they go this way and then they drop. And then somebody like you comes along that offers them a chance to break free, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. I know that, because that could literally change everything. And I don't got a new story. That's literally what happens. It's an identity crisis. Success is an identity crisis. And if you've had any trauma in your life, when you find a little bit of success, you are going to hold on to that and fight with it for tooth and nail. And you'll draw blood. You will do anything. You will hang on to that. And yet it's one little sip in a desert, and you want the ocean, and you get a little sip and you hang on to it. And then somebody says, over here's the ocean. You're like, no, 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 no. I'm not going to the ocean. Well, you said you wanted the ocean. Yeah, but if I go to the ocean now, I'm going to have to give up my suffering. Can you imagine that? We have to convince people to give up their suffering.
I can't imagine that, but
Well,
yes.
I'm working with you to give up your suffering. I'm working with each of you to give up your suffering, whatever. And here's the thing. If we're in a suffering state, we're going to come across people who are suffering.
But at least
you're here, you're showing up. I get it.
I want to change it. I'm not saying, saying, oh no, I'm not explaining to people why I want to stay
Right.
stuck.
Exactly.
That's,
My
yes.
point is though, if you look at this corollary, if you look at this example, this is why Brene Brown says your vulnerability gives us strength. When we talk to people and we tell them, I've been through this, I've dealt with this struggle, right? Nobody knows the pain somebody's going through. Every one of you is dealing with an issue right now. I have no idea what it is. To think that you're not dealing with issues on your side of the screen would be foolish on my part.
Because
And if
you
I did
dealing with you dealing with struggles too.
Yeah, we're all dealing with struggles. My point is that when we get into an environment where we're here to serve, can we leave all that baggage at the door? Most people can't. It's kind of like a perfume or a cologne they wear into their message. That pain, that suffering, that struggle shows up with them, and it comes across in their signal. That's why when we talk about imagination, your struggle is not in your imagination. Hang on. If you can imagine the future you want, the desire you want, the skills, if you know that the skills that you have more talent and more capability than what you're currently using on it, if you know that you can do more, you could be more, you could have more easily, effortlessly, with the stroke of a pen, you could easily be out of your pain, why wouldn't you? Because we've got a set pattern, we've got a set script that we use to keep ourselves stuck. For a long time, mine was, and I was smarter than everybody around me, but I used to use the expression or use the phrase, I still use it as a training, a teaching to create rapport with people. But the feeling, the signal inside, barely made it through high school, drove by a lot of colleges, used to be one in my signal. That was because my brothers went to college. My brothers went to university. They got higher education. I didn't have higher education. I have some of the highest education now, but if for a long time that was a chink in my signal, and no matter what I did, I never broke through. I never got on stage. I never did all of the things that I wanted to do because that little story, hey Dubby, that little story kept me stuck. Wasn't a big story, didn't sound like a big story. I looked smart, I sounded smart, and I just didn't have the signal to understand that smart is the ability to serve at a massive level. One of the challenges that this particular industry, this particular group, the people I speak with, it's about leverage. It's learning leverage so that you can leave a legacy. And leverage, hi Dubby, I know you want your nose scratched. It's the ability to tell your story so strong that it creates a ripple effect. We'll probably, many of us will go through phases working one-on-one, one on group. Yes, hi, good morning. Then one to many, back to one-to-one. And your pay your raise will change accordingly. Right now, you're going to be overworked, underpaid. Then you're going to be compensated accordingly. And then as you get more senior in your experience, in your particular experience, and your imagination takes you down your path, what'll happen is that I hope that it's true that you'll get paid like Tony Robbins, $1 million for a year. And there's a waiting list of 4 years before you can sign up for, you got to be on a waiting list for 4 years. You got to be part of his platinum club, which is $80,000 a year before you can ever get to his personal. Now there's
Well,
other people.
that is one of the reasons why I love network marketing so much, because you have to leverage income. With my other business, I
Right.
don't have any leverage income.
Right.
And I have to be there for every hour and teach. And
So
you
your
only have
imagination, so
that many hours in one day.
right. So need to build an imagination that allows you to leverage your income more. This is the story you've got to be thinking. Imagine if you did German one-on-one in Germany. It was part of a trip. And so you only needed 10 clients a year, 5 clients a year, 5 months a year. You go spend in Germany 5 months. And that 5 month is a 1 month immersion, and it's a $10,000 or $15,000 program. There's people that would pay that. There's people that pay Berlitz that. So now imagine part of your German program for leveraged is you get to go do it where you want to. The challenge is when we deal with small numbers, and when I say small numbers are anything under 20 grand. Now they're big numbers, I get it, but they're small numbers for when people are wanting to invest. You don't really pay attention. If you spend $400 on something and you're like, I never signed. I know I've done it. where you sign up for something, buy it, and it says this email is already in already in use. You're like, what? I don't even, and then you find out you've owned it for 2 years.
Right. And I mean people do that. They sign up for things and they forget and they don't, but it's that's automatically taken out. So that's
Right. Well, I
residual
mean,
income for whoever
but
they
not
signed
even
up
that,
with.
but even just a one-time purchase. My point is this: if going back to the imagination, finishing up on the chapter on imagination, the idea of what we think about, our auto suggestion, our faith, our desire, our self-talk, whatever we is driven by our imagination, right? What
Hmm.
we think about, we bring about. And I can promise you, if your story is significance and certainty, you're going to struggle. And most people who understand that there is more, most people who believe that they can have more, when they're shown it, when they're given a chance to receive it, when they're given a chance to be in front of it, when they're given a chance to say yes, the subconscious usually makes them take action. And they take action. And then what happens is that they'll call you and say, yeah, I'm probably not going to do this program. I'm probably not going to do your network marketing company. I'm okay. I got the product. I got the starter pack. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. And they continue to pay their monthly and never show up. There's people who still pay on a particular network marketing company 18 years ago. I talk to them once a quarter. Why? Any reason why you're still? I like the product. Oh, okay. If you ever decide to take it into a business, I'm not in that organization anymore. I'm not your upline. You ever decide to, my commitment's lifetime, not lunchtime. If you ever decide to take it anymore, just simply call and I'll help. No. I know that. I watch your videos. I watch this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay. After 18 years. Cool. So
That's very unusual. So because even with products, people usually take them 3 months and then they stop. That's like the normal
well,
um the
so
normal death of them. I
that's
think.
and the big problem is that because the imagination, the reason that most network marketing companies are built for a 3-month turnover is because they haven't figured out the psychology of getting a person to buy for the 4th month. That's just a typical story. 60 days, 60, 90 days is all you got. And the reason that they quit is not because the products don't work or the person doesn't want to consume them. It's because nobody's telling them how to have a new story. That's simply it. Nobody is giving them the new story. Nobody is asking them, so what's the new story that you get well, that you get healthy, that you get whatever? It's really that simple. I know it seems like, well, it can't be just that. It's only that. If the products worked on month 1, they'll work on month 6. Why do they stop buying? Because it changes. They don't have a story. When somebody saw the empty bottle and said, why are you still buying that stuff? Somebody looks on their credit card and says, what is this charge? They don't have a story. Oh yeah, I need to cancel that. And they cancel it because they don't even have a 3-month story on their wellness, 3-month story on their success. You got to have a story. And if you don't have a story, you'll stay stuck with your current one.
That makes certainly a lot of sense. I have one more question
Sure.
in regards to the imagination.
Yep.
What I've been hearing a lot lately is not the money excuse, but the plateful excuse. That's in the person's imagination. My plate is full. Well, I usually say, well, it's time to get a bigger plate.
Right.
Uh,
So
is that a good
I would
answer?
ask.
I mean, I don't even know where that comes from and why people use that. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous
No, it's
when
not.
you think of it.
But the point is that you've got to let them own their pain. It it is kind of peculiar, but don't come up with your signal going, well, that's ridiculous, because the next thing you're going to say is going to sound ridiculous. It's just a signal thing.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that fascinating? So my question is,
Isn't that fascinating?
is that to somebody who says my plate is full, is it kind of like filled with empty carbs where you know they're no good for you? Or is it all good, wholesome income producing activities? You know, you can have a plate full of potato chips, your plate's full, but it's really not that good for you. Is there anything on your plate that you wish you could get off and replace?
So those are the kind of questions you would ask.
If that's what
You
I would,
wouldn't, you wouldn't simply tell them to get a larger plate?
no, because they're going to put more of the same crap on it.
Mm.
Right? I mean, it sounds good. Well, you either need to eat less or bigger plate. The challenge is with a bigger plate. Imagine if you go to a buffet.
Oh yeah, that's always what I imagine when they tell me that.
And if you gave them a bigger plate, they probably put less healthy food on it. There's no reason to have a full plate if you're eating dense nutrition, if you're eating good whole food.
Well, most buffets have a lot of junk.
They do, and that's why people want a bigger plate. And my plate is full. Why is your plate? So my question to somebody also would be: is why is your plate full? Is it all that you?
That's a good one. Why is your plate full?
Yeah, why is your plate full? Why don't you have any time for yourself?
Mm. Wow, I could talk to you for hours and get all these nuggets. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure there's many other people here that would also like to share. So thank you. I love you.
You're welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you.